Okay, now I know that I ended the last part on top of Rooftop Run Night, but yeah, new day of recording if I recall correctly, so can't be helped. But yeah, if you have talked to the boss and got the little gift when he was in Missouri, then you can give Ippolita that gift, and almost thereby complete one of the side missions for the game, which are really sweet. I mean, there are a set of side quests which are to do with love, and if you complete all of them you get an achievement, which is quite awesome and sweet. Anyway, it's time to take on Rooftop Run Night, with Intro Rooftop Run Night and Rooftop Run Night. Just such ingenious song titles. Now, the main thing with Rooftop Run Night is that it's mostly kind of these enclosed areas, but you'll see all these blue doors, and if you smash them down, you can enter into the buildings and get loads of goodies, ranging from anywhere from VHS tapes to the musical tracks to Sun and Moon medals. So you really do want to be keeping an eye out for said doors, because they are quite important. Also, I think this level kind of shows off more of the jazz style that the Werehog has for the music, which is really cool. Like, I do quite like the jazz style in comparison to the more rocky. Well, it's not that I prefer it, it's just that it's a nice change of pace from the very rocky previous Sonic soundtracks. I don't know why I said I prefer the jazz stuff. I definitely prefer all the day-stage music, but you get what I mean. It's a change of pace. Now I'm sounding like Dr Eggman in Sonic Generations. It is time for a change of pace. That was a terrible Eggman impression, and I'm incredibly sorry to Mike Pollock for trying to do that impression. But there we go, it's done now. Now, pretty much from this point onwards, the night stages are pretty long. They are all pretty much going to be in excess of 20 minutes long, which is irritating in a Sonic game, because Sonic's stages have always been better when they don't last overly long. I mean, I can't stand the length of some of the levels in Sonic Heroes. I mean, seriously, who wants to play a level of Sonic Heroes that lasts up to 10 minutes plus? It's too much. It's too long. Which is pretty much what the Werehog levels do suffer from. In that you kind of want them to be over with quicker. Which I guess is why some people do prefer the Wii version. In that the Werehog levels are much shorter, but then you get more of them. So it kind of swings in roundabouts, really. Now, I don't really think there's much kind of... You don't really get too many new enemies in this stage. In fact, I think... Oh no, you do. You get 2 or 3 new enemies here. Point them out when we get to them, but it is pretty much simply stuff. Yeah. That sentence started so well, and then just ended in misery. Now, once again, sort of, there's lots of block puzzles which are not particularly challenging per se, but there is a chance that you'll get a wee bit lost in this little bit here because it's a bit winding and it's just slightly irritating, really. Okay, yes, indeed we are. What are we going to use, I wonder? We need something massive to take down that, big gate. I wonder, what that massive barrel up there do? I'm sure it will. Now, if only we could find a lever of some sort, I'm sure that would work out wonderfully. Oh look, there it is. Let's murder everyone first before we attempt to break down the gates, just causing damage everywhere we go. But these things happen. It's Sonic. And, oh, didn't realise we're going to have these guys as well. Here we have what I believe are rockets fighters or something of a similar thing. Yeah. Also, this is an enemy that I can actually properly name. This is the Big Mother, which is basically a mini-boss that will turn up every now and again to try and kill you, and it spawns Rexes at you. Now, I will say that Big Mothers are certainly easier to defeat than Titans, because they don't use shockwaves. And I have to say, anything that does not use a shockwave is always much better than anything that does. I mean, why would you want anything that uses shockwaves? Just no. Just no. It's just evil. Okay, now let's see if I can get the name of those wonderful enemies that I couldn't name before. Because it's always nice to have names for your enemies. And seeing as all we're doing is going through doors and stuff, it's not like we are really doing a whole lot kind of new. Now I have to say, this is kind of odd. Because the wonderful rocket robots do not turn up in this collection, which is incredibly irritating. You can put your standard egg fighters and so on and so forth, but the other enemies have got a very specific name, and I can't find it for the life of me, which sucks. I'm sure I'll grab it eventually. I mean, one thing I will say is that I do like sort of having all this freedom to root around. It just is awesome, really. Yeah, I'm gonna give up on trying to find the name of those robots. I'm sure I'll come across them eventually. Just not now, clearly, because they don't want me to. I guess I should probably use some of this time to discuss the kind of like main differences between the PS3 360 version and the Wii PS2 version, because the stage is quite long, and even though I do like it a lot, there is only so much you can say about Sonic beating the hell out of a lot of things. Anyway, in the Wii/PS2 version, when you run into either a specific part of a stage or hit a question mark in the action stages, Chip speaks and reads word on screen, whereas in the PS3 360 version you only have to read it and it's never spoken. Also, the hub world in the Wii PS2 version consists of selecting an area rather than going for an exploration. And also the time of day is only changeable after the continent has been restored, which seems a bit useless to me. Also, in the daytime stages, Sonic doesn't get an extra life after getting 100 rings in the Wii PS2 version, nor are there extra life items, but you do in the PS3 360 version. The lives work differently in the Wii PS2 version because they're permanent, so you'll always start with 3 lives at the start of a level, but you can extend the amount of lives you can get by getting extra life items in the Gaia Gates, which are essentially your hub. But those aren't apparent; they aren't available in stage, which is really weird. Very subtle difference is that in this version the homing attack targets are green, but in the Wii PS2 version they're red. Also, the Wii PS2 version does not have Missouri or Empire City. You do have the Egg Beetle boss from Missouri, but that's about it. You also have the fact that Sonic begins with all of his abilities in the Wii PS2 version, but he must acquire them in PS3 360. Also, Sonic the Werehog's the only one that levels up, and what he gets is completely predetermined. And he has a lot less moves than he does in this version of the game. So it's different. Also, the boost gauge in the day stages is different because can't be leveled up permanently, and it's determined by rings. Well, it's always determined by rings, but basically you get segmented bars rather than a full bar to be able to boost constantly. And it works continuously, whereas the PS2 version only works for like 2 to 3 seconds. And is filled by a variety of means like collecting and performing action chains and even drifting. And also those action chains in the Wii PS2 version, which are a bit useless if you ask me. Now the main point of contention for the PS3 360 version is the fact that you need to find medals to unlock stages, whereas they are automatically collected in the Wii PS2 version. And Gaia Gates are not present in the PS3 360 version, so we get the fully explorable hub worlds instead, which is awesome. Now, I really like this climbing the tower section. There's just something about it that's really cool. Also, in the PS3 360 version, the rank is determined by score, and the worst ranking is E. On the Wii PS2 version, regular Sonic's ranks are determined by completion time, whilst Werehogs are judged on level up ores gathered, completion time, and number of rings gathered, and the worst ranking is C, which is a bit stupid if you ask me. In boss battles, rank is determined by score in the PS3 360 version, whereas Wii PS2 version only has time and has no ranks aside from S and C, which just seems a bit ridiculous if you ask me. Also, the Sky Chase Tornado Defense minigame is not in the Wii version. Sonic also has a lot fewer voice clips in the Wii PS2 version, which would get very irritating. Also, in the nighttime stages, Sonic appears to run faster while dashing in the Wii PS2 version, but people have complained that he's less controllable. And, yeah, it's slightly iffy. And I think... Oh, I should probably leave it there. That's quite a lot of differences. There's even more. Literally, the number of differences are huge. But you don't need to know all of them. I've done enough for you to note that they are hugely different games. And now I like this bit. It's cool. We have a massive clock, and we get to move the hands. Yay! I don't know, there's just something about having clocks in video games that I like. Maybe it's because it reminds me of London with Big Ben and everything, which pretty much is the main port of reference for almost every European location with a clock in it. So even though Spagonia is more kind of European than like Neverland is in the Neverland in Peter Pan, and also in the Kingdom Hearts games, which is obviously based on the movie, which it was set in London initially. So yeah. Now these are bats, I believe. yes, they are dark bats. They really don't do a lot. They just kind of sit there out of range, and you've got to use them to move. There are ones that will attack later on, but at the minute they're pretty helpless. And that gives us half of a massive key. Funnily enough, I was talking about Kingdom Hearts a few seconds ago, so it just worked. Oh, it was only an A rank. Damn, I should have just moved quicker. Then maybe I could have gotten that wonderful S rank. Well, I have to say, I think Missouri, well, Savannah Citadel Night is the one stage which I seem to constantly S rank. Don't know why, I think it's probably just because it's easy to get through quickly and also murder everything, whereas Rooftop Run Nights is just that bit longer and requires that bit more exploration to get everything, which could be annoying, but okay. So we get the uncanny camera. What that's going to be used for? Oh dear, they've gone crazy. What the hell happened to your voice, mate? Well, yes, a little party never killed nobody. So we go and dance until we drop. So yes, we have this very short little thing where we have to beat up some enemies. I don't know what I think of these exorcisms, as they are called. I guess sort of it's just a nice little side thing. You'd get an achievement for exorcising the Dark Gaia spawn from everyone who's affected by it. So, if you remember the Ice Cream Man and Gregorio, who's the old man with the glasses, in Aptos they were completely different at night. And this is what we need to be able to free them. Unfortunately, we are not going to, largely because I'm a lazy sod. But you can, and I do remember doing it when I first played the game.
What was I just doing?
You're partying, obviously. Now this is a nice little mini reference to Sonic CD's ending, with putting Amy down and leaving before she opens her eyes.
That should calm things down a bit around here.
Why were you hiding behind a pot? Okay, as you do.
Well, of course. He was here just a moment ago.
Tell me what's happened to him. Please, tell me everything you know.
I'll happily explain everything over a plate of cucumber sandwich.
Of course, cucumber sandwiches just divine.